You won't believe what she said that night. My wife, the woman I thought I'd spend forever with, stood in our kitchen with the light low, arms crossed and eyes hard, and spat the words like a dare. I can find someone new in a day. The sentence landed like a bomb. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I just looked at her and said, "Okay then." That tiny reply set everything into motion. My name is Mark. I'm 38 and I run a small auto repair shop I built from the ground up. I'm the kind of man who earns his sleep with grease under his nails and pride in his work. I married Lisa 7 years ago when she was still figuring out life. She was laughter and glitter and spontaneous midnight drives. I loved her for that spark. But over time, the spark flickered and turned cold. It started small. Longer nights out, more time glued to her phone, excuses that smelled like lies. She told me I was too predictable and kept dropping hints about wanting excitement. I tried new things, planned surprise dates, fixed up the garage into a romantic nook, but it never lasted. One night, during a fight over nothing, she threw that line at me, the one that proved how little I meant to her. "I can find someone new in a day," she said, as if it were proof of power. I answered, "Okay then." Instead of losing myself in anger, I stayed quiet and watched. The next week, she smiled at her phone in ways she hadn't in years. She started dressing differently, making small changes she said were for herself. She claimed she had a girls' night, a dinner with Michelle, a spa appointment. I let her go. But curiosity turned into purpose. If she wanted to pretend I was replaceable, I would find out what she was replacing me with. One Friday night, she told me she was going to Michelle's for a simple catch-up. I pretended to sleep early, then slipped out to my truck and followed at a distance. Her route didn't match her story. Instead of turning toward Michelle's neighborhood, she drove downtown to a high-end hotel. I parked around the block and watched through the headlights. She stepped out of the lobby arm in arm with a man in a suit, tall, confident, smelling like new cologne. They kissed like people who had practiced. I took pictures. I didn't shout. I didn't storm in. I let her believe she could walk away with secrets. I started collecting proof, not to punish with noise, but to build a case so neat it would have no place to hide. I synced hotel receipts from our joint account, saved timestamps of messages, and gathered GPS logs that showed her movements. Every piece was a brick in the wall I would eventually close around her betrayal. When she came home at dawn that night, laughing and tripping on her heels, I pretended to be asleep until she collapsed into bed. The next morning, I placed everything on the kitchen table: photos, receipts, messages. She looked at them, her face blanching. "Mark, it's not what it looks like," she stammered. But the truth was already laid out in print and pixels. I slid a folder across with divorce papers inside. I said nothing dramatic. My voice was steady. "You said you could find someone new in a day. Congratulations, you did. Now you get to keep him." The legal path was merciless but fair. With clear evidence of infidelity and financial misuse, the courts moved quickly. I kept the house, the shop, and most of our shared savings. She left with a duffel bag and an apartment lease. He disappeared when the comfort vanished. Months later, I passed her on a rainy street. She mouthed sorry. I walked on. Revenge was quiet. I reclaimed my life and peace.